Looking like an ordinary high schooler, our girl is actually a badass dealing with supernatural messes. Today, a runaway boar caused citywide chaos, and she was the one riding it. As night falls, she activates her glowing ruler and casually heads into a damp underground passage with our boy and a pink pig, ready for their next hunt. Heavy footsteps echo as a massive black slime monster emerges from the shadows. Facing this terrifying beast, our girl doesn't back down, raising her weapon to fight. With a battle cry, the team charges in. They launch a fierce, coordinated assault, landing relentless blows that force the giant beast back with agonizing screeches. Not giving the monster a chance to recover, our boy steps up. Channeling wild blue lightning, he unleashes a devastating slash that obliterates the beast instantly. The root of all this chaos traces back to ancient mythology. Legend says the bear who endured the darkness and ate the sacred garlic turned into a human, starting a new lineage. However, the animals that failed the test grew bitter. Driven by greed and vanity, they corrupted into evil beasts that lurk in human society, preying on people. Fast forward to 16 years ago. An experienced old hunter finally cornered a nine-tailed fox disguised as a human. The cunning beast held an infant, trying to use it as leverage. Ignoring the demon's arrogant taunts, the hunter firmly drew her bow. A glowing arrow precisely pierced the monster's chest, magically leaving the infant in its arms completely unharmed. Holding her real granddaughter safely, the hunter coldly exposed the trick. The baby the beast held was just a lifeless disguise. Severely wounded, the fox collapsed in utter despair. Fueled by the immense agony of losing its family, the dying fox erupted with overwhelming resentment. Morphing into a colossal demon, it cast a deadly curse on the hunter's bloodline, a dark shadow just beginning to show its fangs. During a brutal battle 16 years ago, a dying evil fox unleashed its resentment, branding a terrifying death curse onto the grandmother's chest. Flash forward to the present. Our girl Nara wakes up on her 17th birthday, kicking off her special day with a frantic rush because she overslept. To celebrate, her family gifts her a strange necklace meant to ward off evil. After all, there's a dark rumor that she wouldn't survive past today. However, the charm doesn't seem to work. Blood inexplicably seeps through Nara's chest, as if the Grim Reaper is silently starting a deadly countdown. Despite the looming shadow of death, school life goes on. On the field after class, an out-of-bounds soccer ball unexpectedly sparks Nara's competitive spirit. She kicks a bit too hard, sending not only the ball, but also her sneaker flying. Worse yet, the shoe lands a perfect headshot on a guy nearby. Nara hurries to apologize, only to realize her victim is the school's most popular guy. As our boy hands back the shoe, the atmosphere becomes intensely awkward. Suddenly, Gyunhwa leans in close and sniffs her neck. This strangely familiar scent immediately triggers a hidden memory deep within his mind. Thinking he's mocking her smell, a highly embarrassed Nara shouts a denial and flees. Little does she know, the true threat lurking in the shadows is just beginning to surface. A creepy anomaly starts brewing in the peaceful campus. Purple slime seeps from the cherry blossom tree, and a blood-red death countdown suddenly hangs over Nara's head. Meanwhile, our boy is enjoying the spotlight of campus life. Whether in sports or studying, his undeniable charm easily draws crazy screams from his fangirls. However, in Nara's eyes, this wildly popular guy is nothing but incredibly weird. After school, Nara is cornered by our boy right at the campus corner while taking out the trash. A hint of danger instantly fills the air. Facing Nara's questioning, our boy doesn't back down. Instead, he seriously points out the strange sin on her and locks his eyes on the 3 red dots on her neck, the fatal fox's curse. Before he can even finish, the death countdown hits 0. Our boy violently pulls the bewildered Nara away just as a monster-possessed truck smashes through the wall, roaring directly at them. Accompanied by a deafening roar, the massive impact instantly destroys everything around them. In this split second, our boy shields Nara with all his might as they both crash into the chaotic ruins. The sheer impact still causes Nara's heart to stop, and her horrified soul floats out of her body. Seeing the lifeless girl, our boy completely panics, desperately slapping her in a frantic attempt to wake her up. But the worst is yet to come. Nara's near-death state triggers a long-dormant dark demon. The terrifying black sludge appears with a manic laugh, glaring greedily at her soul, claiming it has waited 17 whole years for this moment. The demon that had lurked for 17 years finally made its move to snatch Nara's soul. Swallowed by relentless black tentacles, our girl is in serious danger. Just in the nick of time, our boy smashes through the darkness like an absolute boss. He pulls the terrified Nara into his arms, proving he can see her loud and clear. But before they can catch their breath, the two go into a freefall and crash violently into the ground. The impact instantly knocks Nara out cold, leaving our guy frantically calling her name. The lurking demon grumbles about being interrupted but retreats for now. Meanwhile, on the brink of death, the mysterious power hidden deep inside Nara is completely ignited by her sheer willpower. When Nara opens her eyes again, she finds herself in an unfamiliar traditional room. Before she can even process what happened, a sudden voice calling outside sends her into a full panic. With no time to think, she scrambles into the closet to hide. But as she peeks out toward the creepy footsteps, she's horrified to see a ferocious tiger with glowing green eyes lurking in the dark. Faced with this bizarre half-beast that can seemingly walk and talk like a human, Nara holds her breath in the shadows, her brain completely short-circuiting from the shock. Right then, our boy walks in, and Nara frantically points out the wild beast. But when the lights flick on, the terrifying monster is revealed to be nothing more than an innocent little tiger cub with a blue bow. Keeping a straight face, our guy insists it's just a normal cat, and the little cub even plays along with a cute meow. The sheer absurdity of the situation leaves Nara completely questioning reality. But the comedic relief doesn't last long before Gyunwoo's mother gracefully steps into the doorway. As the family matriarch, her piercing gaze and overwhelming presence instantly freeze the room. It looks like the real trouble has just begun. Intimidated by his mother's commanding presence, our girl has no choice but to stay for an awkward dinner with this mysterious family. Also at the table is the school's incredibly popular upperclassman. On the surface, he looks like an absolutely flawless idol. The dining atmosphere is unbelievably tense. Trying to be nice, our girl spots a feather on the upperclassman's coat and reaches out to remove it. Our boy tries to stop her, but it's too late. The moment she touches him, giant white wings sprout from his back, making her think she just met an angel. But in the blink of an eye, the cool and handsome guy transforms into a giant white chicken. Even our boy can't help but facepalm at the ridiculous scene. Our girl is completely dumbfounded staring at the clucking chicken. Meanwhile, the feathered senior angrily accuses her of ruining his perfect disguise. He isn't the only one losing his form. As others transform, our boy's mother brings out the food, explaining that they must eat garlic to maintain their human shapes. However, the neat freak senior absolutely refuses to eat such a meal. His stubborn attitude instantly ignites the terrifying wrath of the mother. Since he refuses to cooperate, the mother simply turns him into a pig head and forces him to gobble down the food, stripping away all his dignity. Humiliated and driven mad, the pig-headed senior completely loses it. But the mother doesn't tolerate his tantrum, unleashing a deafening tiger roar that blows everyone away and instantly crushes the rebellion. Amidst the wreckage, Neri snaps a photo of the giant tiger, confirming her suspicions. This instinctive move provokes the beast into baring its terrifying fangs right at her. As our boy tries to explain the truth behind the supernatural chaos, a bewildered Neri looks at the odd group and cautiously asks if they are even human. Hearing her ask if they are animals, the pig-headed guy throws a fit, angrily insisting they are human. Our boy crosses his arms, speechlessly questioning her logic. Suddenly, the fierce tiger steps up and grabs her shoulder. With overwhelming presence, it demands to know whether she sees them as humans or beasts. Our boy steps in to defuse the tension. Gazing deeply at her, he suggests their fateful encounter across boundaries is simply destiny, instantly bringing a blush to Neri's cheeks. Later, a mysterious man offers Neri a protective talisman for emergencies. Wanting nothing but a normal life, she turns and runs away, refusing to get involved in this mess. Watching her flee, the man confidently smiles, certain she will return. Sure enough, the magical talisman tracks her through the air and silently attaches itself to her backpack. Safely home, an exhausted Neri collapses on her bed. Recalling the deadly crash and evil foxes, she silently prays to wake up and find everything back to normal. The next morning, a late Neri sprints to the bus stop. But her awakened spiritual sight catches a creepy blue ghost stalking a passerby. So much for a peaceful life. Ever since her third eye awakened, Nara's daily life has been a nightmare. She sees terrifying spirits in broad daylight, even getting creepy instructions from a ghost just while drinking water. Seeing spirits wandering everywhere, she runs frantically down the street. She desperately realizes that her once peaceful life is gone forever, and her world has completely changed. Escaping to school doesn't help either, as the hallways are also filled with phantoms. When she pushes open her familiar classroom door, she is greeted by a terrifying scene of countless ghosts. Class becomes pure torture as she is surrounded by bizarre blue spirits. To make matters worse, she gets ruthlessly mocked by these ghosts when she makes a mistake on a math problem. As more ghosts gather, they point and stare at her like she's an exhibit. Facing this relentless mental torment, Nara is sweating profusely and on the verge of a total breakdown. Just as the spirits start suspecting she can see them, our boy Gyunwoo senses something is wrong. Ignoring the surprised looks from everyone, he stands up and walks straight to her desk. Before anyone can react, Gyunwoo casually waves his hand, releasing a burst of blue magic that sends the crowded ghosts flying, instantly rescuing Nara from her predicament. After class, Nara pulls Gyunwoo aside for answers. She soon learns that these intimidating school spirits are actually harmless, goofy ghosts who just want students to eat well and study hard. The blue-haired boy seriously warns our girl about evil ghosts and the relentless fox hunting her. He asks if she still has the protective talisman, but her panicked, sweaty reaction says it all. On her way home, our girl is stressing over how to explain the missing talisman without getting yelled at, completely unaware that a real nightmare is already lurking. Under the cover of night, a grotesque, slug-like monster traces her scent through the streets. It silently scales the walls and slips right into her home, while her family remains blissfully unaware of the deadly intruder. In the bathroom, the monster's fong-filled maw hovers right above her, drooling over its prey. But our girl, completely missing the danger, thinks it's just her annoying uncle and angrily yells at him to get out. Kicked out of the bathroom, the terrifying monster surprisingly shows no hostility and instead tries to tend to the stove like a clumsy house husband. Its blundering causes a fire, infuriating our girl so much that she storms off to confront her actual uncle. Our girl ruthlessly kicks her hapless uncle out of the room as payback for the earlier prank. But just as she stands on the stairs gloating, a genuinely terrifying behemoth emerges from the shadows above, lunging at her with its gaping maw. Terrified by the sudden lethal attack, she scrambles down the hallway. The blue-haired boy's warning echoes in her mind. This is definitely one of those evil ghosts. With nowhere to run, she hides desperately behind her door, praying for a miracle. Just as the monster breaches the door, the hanging talisman erupts in a blinding blue light, violently shocking the creature backward. Realizing she actually has a chance, our girl goes full savage, grabbing a heavy dumbbell and smashing it straight at the demon. However, the monster's overwhelming strength proves too much, and it brutally swallows her body whole. But bizarrely, a translucent soul floats out, revealing that the one controlling this body was an imposter all along. The real nightmare has only just begun. With her friend struck down by the sudden monster attack, Neri refuses to back down. She grabs a makeshift weapon and fights back with everything she has. Just in time, she remembers the glowing talisman a mysterious stranger gave her. But before she can catch her breath, an even more terrifying ghost looms over her. The massive ghost pins her against the wardrobe, jaws wide open. Thinking fast, she realizes the wardrobe is also a door and slaps the talisman right onto it, triggering a blinding light. Meanwhile, her friend is caught in the clutches of another monster. Just as hope fades, a surge of blue lightning blasts the door open. Our boy has finally arrived to crash the party. Taking in the chaos, Hyunwoo's eyes turn deadly cold. Surrounded by crackling blue lightning, it's clear these monsters have messed with the wrong guy. When another monstrous beast smashes through the wall and grabs Neri, Hyunwoo answers her cry for help. He unleashes a blinding beam of lightning, blasting the creature away to protect her. It reminds them of that time in the hallway. They were just arguing about homework when a monster ambushed them, only for our boy to casually deliver a devastating lightning punch. Unfazed by the towering behemoth, Hyunwoo strikes from midair with a crushing blow. Even when pinned down, the surging lightning around him proves the real fight is just getting started. Facing the creepy multi-eyed monster, our boy unleashes a massive burst of blue energy. He crushes the beast and frees the devoured souls, leaving the girl completely stunned. As the freed souls fade away, our boy casually pulls out a special vial. He forcefully seals the monster's remains inside, bringing this thrilling exorcism to a smooth end. The crisis just ended, but our guy suddenly vanishes. While the confused girl searches the room, he magically teleports through doors using a mysterious rabbit hole talisman. After walking through the door, they are greeted by a mysterious woman in hanbok. She bluntly reveals the cruel truth. The girl's unique aura makes her a delicious prey for monsters. Surrounded by terrifying monster illusions and the woman's cold death prophecy, the 17-year-old girl, who hasn't even experienced romance, falls into absolute despair. Just when the girl thinks her life is over, the mysterious woman unexpectedly assigns our boy to be her bodyguard. This sudden arrangement leaves our usually cool guy completely dumbfounded. Though our boy looks totally annoyed, the girl gratefully accepts the help. But nothing comes for free. The woman's true target is actually her family's sacred relic. Meanwhile, the mysterious woman in Hanbok smiles confidently as the sacred ring finally acknowledges its new master. Weighted down by the death curse, Neri spends the night wondering if her absent grandmother was actually the legendary hunter they've been looking for. With so many unanswered questions, morning arrives. Just as Neri gets ready for school, our boy Gyunwoo casually slides in to borrow her homework, only to get ruthlessly kicked out. The scene shifts to a traditional study, where a mysterious man phases through the window. Ignoring the silver-haired woman's teasing, he looks dead serious. Time is running out. She sternly warns him, if they don't accumulate enough good deeds to purify the world, these beast descendants will never become true humans for the rest of their lives. Back to their chaotic daily life, Gyunwoo violently plays his bass late at night. Neri angrily bangs on his door, but honestly, this lively banter is exactly what she needs. After the commotion, safely back in bed, Neri softly thanks him through the wall. Having survived so many crises, the fates of these two young souls are quietly entwining. The next morning, they head to school together. But they clearly underestimated the impact. Seeing them side by side leaves the entire student body completely shocked. Turns out, our boy had been stubbornly waiting outside her door. Though he still acts like his grumpy self, playing her personal bodyguard is guaranteed to keep the school rumor mill on fire. The relentless gossip and interrogation from classmates push the girl to her breaking point. The massive psychological stress unexpectedly spawns a creepy, resentful ghost right behind her. Hiding in the dark stairwell, the resentful ghost bitterly curses Nara out of pure jealousy. Suddenly, glowing purple eyes emerge from the shadows, offering a sinister deal to eliminate the girl. But it is no act of kindness. With a mocking tone, the mysterious shadow brutally tears the ghost apart and devours her. The freshly fed monster reveals its grotesque form, yet it still hungers for more. Driven by an insatiable appetite, the monstrous entity goes on a feeding frenzy across the campus, preying even on innocent spirits. As it hunts, the once lively school turns eerily deserted and dead silent. Sensing the unnatural stillness, our boy Gyunwoo quickly uses a glowing pen to draw a protective ward on the ground. After ordering his friend to stay inside, he bravely ventures into the dark corridors alone. Following the sinister aura, Gyunwoo discovers a group of trembling spirits hiding behind a door. They hush him immediately, warning that a terrifying evil entity is currently roaming the school grounds. Before they can react, the multi-eyed black monstrosity violently bursts through the door, instantly swallowing the helpless spirits. As the beast demands Nara's whereabouts, our boy quietly stands his ground, ready for a brutal fight. On the city streets, an oblivious Nara anxiously texts Gyunwoo, worried about his safety. Little does she know, our boy is currently trapped in a dark hallway, standing completely alone against a massive demon made of black slime. Seeing the demon spit out victims' belongings and taunt him, Gyunwoo's eyes drop to the freezing point. Skipping the small talk, he unleashes a burst of blinding blue lightning and lands a brutal kick right on the monster's face. However, this monster is much tougher than expected. Not only does it brush off the beating, but it also uses the opening to swallow an innocent soul right in front of Gyunwoo, laughing arrogantly. This scene completely ignites Gyunwoo's fury. Like an enraged beast, he charges at the monster for a furious counterattack. Unfortunately, the enemy's overwhelming power blasts him away with a deafening, shockwave-inducing roar. Watching the unsaved ghost smile and fade away, Gyunwoo fights through the pain to steady himself. He senses something deeply wrong. A monster that consumes this many souls without losing its mind isn't just an evil ghost, but the cunning fox. Knowing his enemy, our boy smirks, vowing to beat every stolen soul out of it. But the fox's illusion magic is incredibly tricky. Everyday toilets and tiles instantly turn into man-eating jaws, forcing him to dodge for his life. Facing giant jaw traps sprouting from the ceiling and the ground, Gyunwoo's defense begins to crumble. Unable to dodge in time, he is tightly snared by a bizarre tentacle and violently slammed into the rubble. When it rains, it pours. While Gyunwoo is pinned down, a mysterious attacker suddenly appears, delivering a devastating blow with eerie purple energy. Meanwhile, a completely unaware Nara is still anxiously calling his name outside the school. Looking at the fallen Gyunwoo, the monster smugly mocks him for not being human. But its smile fades a second later. Our boy slowly looks up with a defiant smirk, his right arm transformed into a massive blue beast claw. The real hunt is just beginning. Meanwhile, our boy Gyunwoo is in a fierce standoff with the monster. The beast relentlessly taunts him, mocking how a wild beast is trying to curry favor with humans. The monster strikes a nerve, claiming humans would only feel disgust if they saw his true form. Pushed to his limit, Gyunwoo unleashes his blue lightning and fiercely charges. At the same time, Nara notices the ominous sky and worries about Gyunwoo, only to be accidentally knocked down by a bike. She looks up to find the popular Hando. Fighting far away, Gyunwoo senses the peril and desperately screams Nara's name. Because right then, the massive black monster crashes down. Nara instantly recognizes it as the evil cursed fox. As the evil fox lunges with its gaping maw, Hando surprisingly steps forward to shield her. Facing the hideous beast, he smirks and confidently declares its ugliness cannot penetrate his beauty. Hando unleashes a blinding aura of beauty that effortlessly pushes the monster back. But the cool moment is ruined when the extreme germaphobe realizes the monster slime has dirtied his hand, making him utterly furious. Facing the terrifying monster, our boy Gyunwoo charges in to cover their retreat. Meanwhile, Hando is pedaling for his life, only to realize Nara has somehow hopped on the back. The rainy survival race begins. With the beast hot on their trail, the intense speed sends Nara's tie flying right into her face. Just as Hando turns to scold her, the monster lunges and fiercely strikes their bike. Covered in black slime and scared out of his mind, Hando refuses to transform to protect his idol image. Despite Nara mocking his sudden weight gain, he can only scream and keep pedaling. The duo recklessly speeds through the streets, narrowly missing a stroller. But as they rush onto the overpass, real danger strikes when the monster ambushes them from below. A massive blast shatters the bridge, sending them flying high into the air. Screaming in pure terror, they crash land right into a pile of garbage. Pushed to his absolute limit, Hando completely loses it and turns into a pink pigman. Right in this chaotic moment, our boy Gyunwoo arrives in style, radiating intimidating blue lightning. Gyunwoo coldly mocks Hando's hilarious pig form. Before Hando can complain, the relentless monster charges again. Our boy smoothly unleashes his lightning to fight, while the poor pigman gets blasted away yet again. Seeing his ally blasted away, our boy unleashed his full power. Wreathed in crackling blue lightning, he launched a devastating punch straight into the monster's face. Just moments ago, the terrifying beast had plummeted from the sky. Frozen in fear while shielding a child, the girl could do nothing as the jaws of death closed in. In the nick of time, the blue-haired ghost stepped in to take the lethal blow. Watching her sacrifice and the girl falling heavily to the ground, our boy roared in absolute despair. He rushed over, desperately calling her name as she lay motionless. Luckily, a quick check confirmed she was still breathing, much to the relief of the panicked pig-headed senior. Consumed by guilt over failing to protect her, our guy completely lost it. He recklessly smashed his fists into walls and trees until his hands bled, ignoring all warnings from his friend. Meanwhile, the girl's consciousness plunged into a bizarre astral void. Just as she was fleeing from terrifying wraiths, the familiar blue ghost appeared, sharply telling her to snap out of it. Suddenly, she was pulled into an ancient memory. To her shock, she witnessed the fox demon's tragic loss of its family to hunters, the exact catalyst that birthed the vicious, man-eating curse. Witnessing this generational blood feud sent shockwaves through her soul. The tragic memory of her mother desperately fleeing their home to escape this very death curse finally began to make sense. Trapped in a twisted mental space, our girl is bound by the dark fox, who is ruthlessly invading and trying to consume her most precious childhood memories. Refusing to give up, she uses her sheer willpower to call out to her grandmother deep within the memory. This unexpected counterattack completely baffles the fox, who can't figure out how its prey is breaking the rules. Don't let the darkness consume you, fight back. Guided by her grandmother's spirit, the hunter bloodline resonates across time. A blinding blue pillar of light erupts, piercing through the mental realm right into the real world. Back in the mental realm, the awakened girl no longer fears the monstrous beast. Declaring that she won't be anyone's punching bag, she channels all her spiritual energy into a devastating counterattack, leaving the monster howling in pain. In the real world, our boy certainly doesn't disappoint. Tearing through the dark sludge, he securely catches the exhausted girl as her consciousness returns, providing the ultimate sense of safety. Just as he swiftly subdues the possessed host and holds his girl, disaster strikes again. The remaining dark aura suddenly goes berserk, morphing into a violent energy vortex that sweeps everyone back into chaos. The cunning fox remnants try to launch a sneak attack, But our usually timid senior steps up. He decisively pulls out a purification device, blasting the filthy creature into oblivion and finally bringing the fight to an end. With the crisis seemingly over, the romantic vibe doesn't even last 3 seconds before a sudden spatial shockwave sends them tumbling. Seeing the surrounding ambushers, our boy clenches his fists, his anger reaching its absolute peak. Just as he is about to go all out, a massive surge of blue energy erupts from the girl's hands, blowing all the enemies away. As the light fades, a sacred golden snake ring appears. It's the legendary Hunter's Thumb ring. What destiny awaits them now? After saying goodbye to the healed spirit, Nara curiously examines the golden ring in her hand as our trio returns to their peaceful daily life. While enjoying some late-night ramen, Nara casually mentions that her grandma recognized her. Our boy instantly freezes, his expression turning deadly serious. The scene shifts as our crew returns to the solemn ancient mansion with their spoils. The mysterious figure seals the fox spirit in a bottle, handing the crucial Hunter's Thumb ring to the clan leader. Seeing the legendary Dan Dun relic finally back in their grasp, someone secretly rejoices at no longer turning into a pig. But as the leader eagerly grips the ring, the vibe gets noticeably tense. No matter how hard the leader tries to channel her power, the arrogant relic refuses to respond. It even erupts with a blinding light, mercilessly blasting her away. Seeing the leader fail, the silver-haired guy steps up for a turn, only to be shut down by the glasses-wearing senior, who angrily slams the table demanding strict order. But the moment the senior flexes his power, his magic completely backfires. Instead of activating the relic, he instantly transforms into a bald chicken wearing wire-rimmed glasses. Watching this absolute farce, a skeptical Nara gently pinches the ring. To everyone's shock, the exact relic that rejected the top-tier fighters instantly bursts into a dazzling light in her hands. However, just as everyone is left speechless by this miracle, a massive splatter of blood suddenly hits the room. Our boy instantly catches the heavy scent of blood. The real nightmare has quietly arrived. Just as Nara feels her body moving on its own, the surroundings shift. The massive ancestral deity of hunters descends, declaring her as his chosen successor. The ancient deity manifests right above their dining table, roaring about eradicating beasts in human skin. This absolutely terrifies our beast companions, who are sweating bullets over blowing their cover. The deity forcefully awakens the relic's power, demanding Nara embrace her destiny as a hunter. But our girl rejects the script, bluntly stating she just wants to go to college and get a job. Threatened with a deadly curse, Nara recalls her past suffering. Firmly stating she refuses to kill, she uses sheer willpower to overwrite the relic's violent energy into a brilliant blue sword of protection. Shocked that the relic adapted to a human's wish, the deity realizes this power will attract evil. He fades into the light, leaving behind a final warning to trust no one. The moment the god leaves, Nara cheerfully admits her stubborn defiance was just method acting to bluff the deity, celebrating her victory while our boy and the animal companions are left completely speechless. Meanwhile, in the shadows, the mysterious woman coveting the relic smiles wickedly. To her, the relic choosing a master just makes things easier, as the naive new hunter has walked right into her trap. On the other side, having survived the immense stress, Hando finally reverts from a pig back to his human form. Looking at his handsome reflection, his endless narcissism burns bright once again. Back to the mysterious faction, the Hanbok woman secretly meets with a trenchcoat man. Holding a jar containing a powerful fox spirit, they negotiate with hidden agendas, brewing an even greater storm. Oblivious to the looming threats, our girl excitedly channels her new divine energy into a glowing pencil. Our boy just agrees helplessly. While things seem peaceful now, the true danger is just getting started. To show off her newly awakened power, Nara throws a pencil. Unexpectedly, it transforms into a glowing energy sword, streaking across the night sky and causing a massive explosion. Stunned by the terrifying destructive force of her casual strike, our girl and her friends just freeze, as the entire room shakes violently from the distant shockwave. As a hunter's descendant, Nara's attacks automatically track down evil energy. Little does she know, this accidental strike has already startled some terrifying, ancient entities. That night, an exhausted Nara heads to the kitchen for a midnight snack, only to hold her breath in terror. A mysterious black creature with glowing yellow eyes is hiding in her fridge. Before she can sneak away, the little monster starts crying in pain. Nara looks closer and panics. The very pencil she shot earlier is now sticking right out of its chest. Waking up with a start from the monster's angry accusations, Nara sighs in relief. Walking down the street, She assumes the stress is just giving her crazy nightmares about ghosts. But reality is far crueler. The pencil she casually shot is now firmly embedded in an eerie dead tree on the outskirts, quietly brewing a massive, terrifying storm. Determined to uncover the truth behind her ghostly dream, Nara tracks down an abandoned old house. The ruined building is incredibly creepy, with an unsettling aura lingering in the air. Not long ago, some reckless teenagers used this place as their secret hangout. But their fun ended instantly when a horrific evil spirit emerged, scaring them half to death and sending them running. Investigating the missing cases, our girl finds her evil tracking pencil flying straight into a giant dead tree. With no other choice, she steps up to pull it out. Suddenly, the floor gives way, sending her crashing into a pitch-black underground garage. Surrounded by darkness, she endures the pain and calls out for help. Using her phone's flashlight, she is shocked to see how massive the space is, with giant roots piercing the walls. A suffocating dread creeps in. Just as she anxiously searches for an exit, a group of creepy people with eerie smiles emerges from the shadows, surrounding her and making her scream. Meanwhile, her companions wonder why Nara's curse remains unbroken. Following the clues, they discover a bizarre bottle sealing a glowing fox deep within a cave. Following the dim candlelight, they are horrified to find a massive ancient tree covered in mysterious talismans and bottles standing right in the secret chamber. In a sudden shift to a rainy night, a massive, glowing phantom glares down at the young girl, looking as if it's ready to consume her completely. Back in the underground chamber, the girl realizes the crowd has completely lost their minds. Ignoring her warnings, they instantly go berserk and lunge at her. Right as she gets knocked down, a glowing faceless monster appears. It offers a deal: climb the vines and pull out the pencil. But is this salvation or another deadly trap? Pushed by the monster, our girl desperately climbs the giant vines to survive. With countless pale hands reaching from the abyss to drag her down, she kicks away the creepy figures, fighting for her life in this absolute nightmare. Barely making it out of the abyss, Neri collapses in exhaustion. To think all this madness started just because she pulled a suspicious pencil from the rocks, triggering a trap that sent both her and her friend tumbling down. Who could have guessed that fighting off gross slime monsters with this flimsy pencil was just a warm-up? Suddenly, the environment warps as a massive dead tree erupts from the ground, its twisted roots swallowing her whole like tentacles. Thrown back into the wasteland, she barely has a second to breathe before a powerful shockwave blasts her away. A gigantic blue demon bursts from the dead tree, laughing maniacally as it celebrates its freedom after 70 years of imprisonment. Watching this monster, named Punbeak, expand in size and roar with vengeful fury, Neri breaks into a cold sweat. She realizes she messed up big time. That pencil was actually the seal holding this beast captive. Just as the ancient demon is about to go on a rampage, a cold voice rings out from above. A mysterious man in a black trench coat stands atop the rocks, exuding overwhelming authority as he orders the beast to step down. The mysterious man frowns, coldly questioning how his seal was broken. Seeing his old enemy, the arrogant Punbeak completely loses it. Roaring with wide-open jaws, the beast vows to tear him apart, setting the stage for an epic showdown. A mysterious man in a suit makes a dramatic entrance, instantly suppressing the rampaging Punbeak with his overwhelming aura. He turns and coldly asks our girl Nara how she broke the seal. Startled, Nara guiltily drops the glowing tool in her hands. Before she can explain, the man brutally stomps on Punbeak's head, ordering the monster to crawl back into its tree. Punbeak refuses to submit and tries to fight back. However, the man calmly raises his hand and unleashes a terrifying energy blast, sending the massive beast flying effortlessly. The heavily injured Punbeak roars wildly, triggering a massive explosion. Yet, amidst the earth-shattering impact and swirling dust, the mysterious man simply smirks with total confidence. Facing the monster's relentless counterattack, the man calmly issues a final ultimatum. Immediately after, an even more blinding burst of light erupts violently from their clash. Since the monster refuses to yield, the man unleashes a devastating point-blank beam. The terrifying strike instantly forces the once proud ancient demon to its knees. Witnessing this one-sided beatdown, Nara can hardly believe the man is human. Retracting his power, he turns to her and coldly commands her to stay right where she is. Noticing Nara covered in dirt, the man sharply interrogates her about what she saw underground. His overwhelming presence leaves our girl sweating, forcing her to nervously stutter out a denial. Facing the intimidating suit guy, Nara is completely at a loss. Meanwhile, the blue monster Punbeak clearly isn't planning to back down, roaring and ready to attack. The suit guy coldly provokes him, which completely enrages Pumbeek. The monster roars, wide-mouthed, and quickly gathers scorching flames in his hands. The raging fire instantly throws everything into chaos and triggers painful memories. Seeing this, the suit guy's face darkens, sternly warning the monster to stop playing with fire. But Pumbeek doesn't play by the rules. He snatches the terrified Nara and charges forward like a mad bulldozer, completely ignoring the warning. Amidst Nara's desperate cries, Pumbeek smashes right through a bizarre wooden door with her, and both vanish into the deep darkness. Seeing his target snatched right under his nose, our guy isn't having it. He rushes toward the door without hesitation, swearing through gritted teeth to tear the monster limb from limb. However, as he storms through the doorway, the expected fierce battle doesn't happen. The vibe suddenly changes. He hears the sound of ocean waves, and a tiny crab even scurries past his feet. Our guy looks up, utterly speechless. Right in front of him is a sunny beach in Busan. He finally realizes he just got totally played by the Dakibi's spatial portal. As a mysterious rabbit symbol lights up in the shadows, a mocking scoff echoes. It seems someone else is secretly pulling the strings behind all this chaos. Caught by a starving blue monster, our girl braces for the worst. But surprisingly, the beast suddenly invites her to a delicious meal instead. Staring at the empty cabinet, she panics, realizing she might be the main course. She forces a frantic smile and politely declines to save her life. Sensing her fear, the monster points to old family photos, proudly recalling his past. Confused, our girl tries to play along without getting herself killed. It turns out this giant is the family's guardian deity. Just as she plans to fake agreement and run, he suddenly points at a corner, saying, "Ah, you're here too." Following his gaze, she peers at a dusty black and white photo. A chill runs down her spine when she recognizes the terrified face. It's undeniably her. From the face to the exact same clothes, the resemblance is uncanny. Her mind races, unable to comprehend why she's in a photograph from decades ago. Before she can process the shock, a massive shadow engulfs her. The monster leans in, demanding answers about a promise she has absolutely no memory of. Despite Nara's nervous defense, the blue guardian casually gives a thumbs up, claiming he just came to remove the seal. Suddenly, a strange sound interrupts them. It's a call from Hyunwoo. Treating it like a lifeline, Nara frantically answers the phone, desperately trying to reach our boy for help. But before she can even speak, the guardian's massive hand mercilessly crushes her phone to pieces. He glares fiercely, warning her not to try any suspicious tricks. Staring at the shattered pieces, Nara is too terrified to breathe. The guardian grabs her shoulder, forcefully declaring that this protected house is the safest place for her to stay. Breaking the tension, the previously defeated blonde attacker suddenly appears at the door. Ignoring her own severe wounds, she frantically screams at Nara to run away. To trick Nara into leaving, the blonde woman maliciously frames the guardian as the man-eating monster Pumbeek. Furious at the twisted lies, he scoops Nara up and loudly denies it. Looking at the collapsed blonde woman, the guardian tries to continue clearing his name. But at that exact moment, two hidden accomplices launch a brutal surprise attack on him from both sides. Outside the broken window, a man in a baseball cap waves frantically, urging the girl inside to come to him for safety. But just as the girl is about to approach, a massive blue monster suddenly intervenes. With a ruthless strike, it sends the so-called rescuers flying, smashing them into the wooden floor. Frozen in terror by the monster's fierce appearance, the girl is shocked when it warns her not to be fooled. It explains that the fallen humans are actually Pumbeek's brainwashed followers. The man at the window keeps screaming that the blue creature is a monster. Caught between a fellow human's cries and a terrifying beast telling her to trust it, the girl is completely paralyzed by doubt. The seemingly unconscious followers on the ground still harbor deadly intentions, while the desperate man at the window reaches out, frantically urging the girl to hurry. Driven by absolute terror, the girl finally decides to crawl toward the window. Seeing her walk right into a trap, the blue monster violently snatches her back, forcing her to stay inside. Looking at the cowering girl, the guardian monster, who has been silently protecting them, finally roars in desperate frustration, "Why don't you humans ever believe me?" As soon as the monster speaks, the seemingly helpful man drops his act. His eyes glow with an eerie light as he sneers, mocking the monster that humans will only ever believe the terrifying appearance they want to see. Inside the gloomy house, the old photo wall seems to trigger a forbidden memory. The blue monster is furious, roaring and vowing to make its target pay the price. The chaos escalates outside as someone crashes heavily to the ground. To prevent a tragedy, the mysterious man with glowing eyes sprints desperately across the rooftops. Back inside, the monster looms over our defenseless girl. Staring dead at its prey, it viciously announces that once its belly is full, it will crush her face. Just in the nick of time, the hunter squad arrives. The fierce leader tries to play it cool by claiming she sensed the spiritual energy, but immediately gets exposed for using GPS. Jokes aside, once they pop the trunk full of exorcism weapons, the squad means business. The leader draws her beautiful blade, swearing to turn any relic thief into dust. With a massive dash, the crew charges toward the house without hesitation. Protecting the relic is important, but for them, saving our girl is the only thing that truly matters right now. The rescue squad is finally assembled. With Nara's safety as their top priority, the team wastes no time and immediately sprints toward the target location. Although a bizarre dead tree catches the huntress's attention, saving Nara comes first, so they don't linger and quickly arrive at a heavy, carved wooden door. Finding the room seemingly empty, our boy is about to rush in and check it out, but Hando quickly grabs his shoulder and forces him to stop. It turns out the door is rigged with a spatial trap triggered by spiritual power. Stepping in means getting teleported anywhere, so Hando pulls out an item to safely disable it. Just as Hando starts his fancy ritual to disable the spell, the impatient huntress decides magic takes too long and simply smashes the door to pieces, leaving him completely stunned. There's no time to waste. The huntress boldly leads the team into a wrecked, dimly lit corridor. But just then, she pauses to listen to a strange noise. The real danger in the shadows is closing in. The group is stunned by the bizarre sight. The once arrogant attackers are now scattered across the room, seemingly embedded into the walls and floor by some twisted spell. Upon closer inspection, they realize the attackers are somehow still alive. It's an ancient and gruesome spell that will take quite some time to fully undo. But saving these cultists isn't the priority, because Nara is missing. Eager to find her, the team wastes no time and pushes deeper into the old mansion. Our boy anxiously pushes open the next door. He hopes to find Nara hiding in the dim kitchen, but the scene inside completely catches him off guard. A massive, menacing blue Dakibi is standing right in front of the fridge. It's casually using a rabbit hole talisman to snatch raw meat straight from a supermarket miles away. Peeking through the crack, the guys are completely bewildered. They watch as this legendary guardian deity marvels at modern convenience, while happily stuffing its face with raw beef. But our boy has zero patience for this mukbang. Desperate to find Nara, he launches a fierce surprise attack, slamming his glowing blade into the monster's head, while screaming for her whereabouts. Desperate to get Nara back, our boy doesn't hold back, swinging his lightning-infused weapon right at the massive ancient monster's head. However, the monster takes the devastating hit without a scratch and lets out a furious roar, leaving our boy completely shocked by its unbelievable defense. Before he can even adjust his tactics, the monster counters with overwhelming force. The brutal impact sends our boy crashing hard through the wooden floor. Frustrated by the insane power gap, our boy can only grit his teeth. Meanwhile, the furious monster unleashes a devastating energy blast to punish the interruption. Just in the nick of time, a fierce sword-wielding huntress crashes the party. Bursting through the wreckage, she delivers a heavy slash that sends the towering beast flying. As the monster stares in stunned silence, the huntress coldly cuts to the chase, demanding to know the real reason she's here. Where exactly is the sacred relic? Just as the blue monster is trying to process what hit him, the hunter squad quickly splits up. The others rush off to find Nara, leaving the fierce sword woman and her partner to hold the line. Unfazed by the massive beast, our badass lady tells her partner to stay back. She casually stretches her muscles, more than ready to take this guy on herself. The monster is shocked by her raw strength and asks if she's a minion sent by Pumbik. Hearing that cursed name coming from a Dakibi instantly puts the lady on high alert. The monster tries to sugarcoat it as a partnership, but she bluntly calls him Pumbik's lapdog. Deeply offended, the beast completely loses it and lunges at her in a blind rage. Instead of dodging the devastating punch, our lady decides to take it head-on. Their clash creates a massive shockwave that practically shatters the air around them. Being this close, the monster finally realizes the terrifying truth. The woman isn't using any fancy spiritual power. She is matching him with pure, unadulterated physical strength. The sheer intensity of their brawl completely destroys the surrounding area. Her partner can only watch in awe as they trade earth-shattering blows in the pouring rain. It's not just a physical brawl, it's a trash talk showdown. The monster brags he hasn't even used half his strength, while the lady casually replies she hasn't even used a quarter, mocking his bravado. As the ground shatters beneath him in a brutal test of grip strength, the monster's confidence crumbles. Feeling her terrifying power firsthand, he desperately roars, wondering what kind of freak she truly is. The battle in the rain is absolutely brutal. Facing the massive blue monster, the fierce hunter swings her glowing blade, sparking intensely in the dark. Meanwhile, our boy Gyunwoo and his ally are desperately searching the crumbling building. Ignoring the danger, he screams Nara's name down the dark hallway. Bursting through the door, Gyunwoo's heart drops. Seeing Nara bound and unconscious on the cold floor, he immediately rushes to her side in panic. Ignoring the villain's taunts, Gyunwoo desperately calls out to her. Trapped in the darkness, Nara's subconscious finally catches his frantic voice. Gyunwoo pulls her into a tight embrace, grasping the magical cord binding them. He can feel her trembling uncontrollably from pure terror. Seeing her battered body, guilt consumes him for underestimating the danger she was in. He gently holds her closer, whispering, "You did great. I'm here now." Back to the intense fight, the blue Dakibi steps up as the ultimate guardian deity of the house. With a massive roar, he absolutely blasts the intruder away. Brushing off the enemy's mockery, the guardian deity wastes no time. He grabs the attacker with brute force and bulldozes straight through the hallway like an unstoppable force. Seeing our girl held captive by the massive blue monster on a destructive rampage, the situation becomes incredibly critical. Furious at the danger she's in, our boy unleashes a terrifying tiger phantom. His massive phantom claws crash down, shattering the floor and instantly blasting the monster away. However, the massive impact causes the floor to collapse, sending them plummeting. In midair, our boy desperately shields her in his arms, bracing for the hard landing. Crashing hard, our boy uses his own body as a cushion. Although she shakily complains about his weight, realizing they are both safe finally puts her mind at ease. Just then, the hunter squad led by the suited man finally arrives at the devastated ruins. They quickly take control of the situation and begin investigating the strange surroundings. The group discovers numerous bizarre containers filled with spirits. Confronted by the gray-haired hunter, the injured Dakibi reveals the truth. This place is actually a soul prison built by Pungbeak. Disgusted by this madness, she furiously questions Pungbeak's motive. But our guy steps in with a chilling answer, because he said they taste delicious. The hunter leader confirms this, ruthlessly exposing the fallen deity's dark truth, that former divine messenger is dying. Right now, he is nothing but an empty shell driven by hunger. Looking at the fallen monster, the hunter leader grimly reveals the truth. To extend his life, Pungbeak consumed evil spirits, ultimately turning himself into a high-level beast. Pungbeak was once a devoted divine messenger. However, as his time ran out and his body began to crumble, he became consumed by a deep fear of death. He pleaded with the gods to escape the fate of returning to nothingness. But when the flame died, the gods remained silent, and he wept tears of blood. Desperate to survive, he resorted to drinking the dark energy of evil spirits. Feeling this forbidden power, Pungbeak burst into maniacal laughter. Fueled by this dark energy, his life force flared up again. He felt as though he had finally broken free from the god's shackles, achieving true liberation. But it was a cursed path. As the evil energy corroded his body, unbearable agony dragged him into the abyss, leaving him with a ravenous hunger for more spirits. The endless thirst slowly stripped away his sanity. By the time he regained his senses, innocent victims lay scattered around him, his memory completely wiped. Just as he completely lost control, he stumbled upon the hidden old tree. Seeing the massive amount of gathered evil spirits, Pungbeak finally degraded into a bloodthirsty, ravenous monster. The mastermind finally steps out of the shadows, looking down at the fallen monster. He smugly mocks the group for doing all his dirty work. It turns out to be a cruel trap. The villain manipulated these beasts into hunting ghosts for him, treating them like nothing more than obedient hounds. Hearing this ruthless betrayal, the group is instantly enraged. The humiliation of being used as pawns pushes even the calmest members to their breaking point. However, the villains couldn't care less about their anger. Having collected enough power, they coldly decide it's time to dispose of these useless pawns. Right on cue, eerie flames instantly engulf the fallen monster and the distant dead tree. Faced with this sudden extermination plot, everyone is plunged into an unprecedented crisis. A massive fire quickly engulfs the surroundings, trapping everyone inside the ruins with no way out. Seeing their panic, the cold-blooded villain merely sneers, fully intending to let them all burn to death slowly. Just in the nick of time, Hando makes his move. He summons his crimson chains, instantly binding the villain's ankles and violently dragging the arrogant foe down to his knees. However, the crisis is far from over as a bizarre black sludge suddenly surges and covers the villain's left eye. After absorbing this evil monster's power, his already unhinged aura becomes even more terrifying. Fully enraged, the villain unleashes terrifying giant black claws from the ground. A massive explosion instantly sweeps across the area, blasting Hando away before he can even defend himself. Unexpectedly, the rampaging Pungbeak suddenly charges in. Clamping his giant blue hands tightly around the villain's head, the monster vows to squeeze out his last bit of strength to drag the scumbag into the flames with him. You kill and abandon others just to save yourselves? Accompanied by dazzling blue lightning, our boy finally makes his powerful entrance. Facing the cruel enemy, he unleashes a devastating lightning strike without hesitation. Wrapped in roaring thunder, a heavy punch ruthlessly smashes into the villain's face. But enduring the blow, the villain sneers through gritted teeth, bitterly asking if our boy has ever known the true despair of being completely abandoned. The villain's mind was replaying the humiliating memories of being betrayed and discarded, driving him to the brink of madness. But before he could fully unleash his fury, a blinding blue beam struck from above, piercing straight through his chest. Tracing the attack back, it was our girl Nara who took the shot. And what made the hunter leader's jaw drop was that her arrow was just an ordinary pencil. Yet the seemingly ordinary pencil was the key to turning the tide. Just like popping a balloon, it precisely neutralized the villain's impending lightning counterattack. With his power core shattered, the villain suffered a brutal backlash. The bizarre colorful slime poured out uncontrollably, terrifying everyone nearby into curling up for cover. As his body continued to crumble, the villain glared at Nara. He finally realized that ever since this seemingly weak girl showed up, his perfect plans had turned into a complete joke. Realizing that all was lost and his body was giving out, the villain gritted his teeth and threw out a desperate threat, vowing to return and avenge today's humiliation. Too bad our girl and the hardcore huntress weren't buying it. Trying to run? He'd have to ask their fists first, because they were ready to give him a severe beating right now. The mysterious villain suddenly unleashes a terrifying black energy, triggering a massive explosion. The building is instantly engulfed in flames, sending everyone reeling from the shockwave. Seeing the building about to collapse, the villain leaves a mocking farewell and vanishes. Nara and the gang are left in disbelief he actually escaped right under their noses. With flames spreading fast, the gray-haired guy calmly searches the ruins and digs out a box with a rabbit talismanate portal. Relieved, the glasses guy happily ruffles his hair. Looking at the escape route, our boy gently reaches out to Nara, saying, "Let's go home." That simple promise washes away her anxiety, bringing a heartfelt smile to her face. But just during this heartwarming moment, a massive explosion rips through the ruins. They whip around in shock, realizing the deathly threat isn't done with them yet. A massive explosion shatters the ruins. With their only exit completely blocked by rubble, despair instantly washes over the group. Just when they think it's all over, a violent tremor shakes the ground. Suddenly, a broken door engraved with mysterious runes is blasted open from the inside. The family's guardian deity emerges from the blue light. He has exhausted his last bit of strength to open an escape route. When Neri begs him to come along, he shakes his head. His life is tied to the dying tree. Looking at the photos of his fallen family in the flames, the deity is filled with guilt. To make amends, he decides to stay behind, vowing to protect these final guests at the cost of his life. Neri's heart breaks seeing the noble guardian face his end. But with the space collapsing around them, our boy has no choice but to lead everyone in a desperate sprint toward the exit. The moment they cross the threshold, a deafening sound echoes behind them. Through the gap, they watch as the massive deity's body completely disintegrates in a blinding flash of light. Safely outside, Neri picks up a fragment bearing the deity's face. Remembering his tragic 70-year confinement and his pride as a guardian, she holds it close, silently praying for his noble soul. Filled with regret over the blue guardian's sacrifice, our girl wonders if things would have been different had she been braver. Followed by a glowing butterfly, they step through a mysterious portal of light. Meanwhile, their companions crash onto the modern streets, thrilled to find themselves completely unscathed. But the celebration is cut short when they realize our boy and girl are nowhere to be found. At the same time, our duo is staring in disbelief at the scene before them. The mansion that was just burning in ruins is now perfectly intact, with a well-kept garden that feels incredibly eerie. Sensing something is horribly wrong, our boy tries to open the door to head back, but a sudden camera click stops them. They turn around to see a young boy with a camera curiously observing them. Looking closely at the boy's face, our girl is completely stunned. It's the last descendant of the family that the Blue Guardian fought to protect. They have somehow traveled back to 1954, and a door to the past is now wide open. Faced with this boy from the past, our duo is at a loss for words. Moreover, in this era full of unknown taboos, the ancient monsters and deadly threats are still lurking. The real test has just begun. Hearing the boy still defending Pungbeak, our boy knows explaining is pointless and just wants to urge Nara to leave this troubled place immediately. Nara knows it well too, since Pungbeak was a kind doctor in the past. Making the boy believe he turns into a monster is basically impossible. Suddenly, the lingering aura of the evil spirit strikes. Remembering how she used to run away in fear, Nara decides not to back down this time. Facing the corrupted fragment, she doesn't even dodge. Instead, she grabs it directly and violently crushes it into purification with her bare hands. This badass move completely stuns both the boy and our guy. Nara takes this chance to earnestly ask for the boy's trust. She hands him an item, telling him that dropping his prejudice is the only way to see true sincerity. Meanwhile, a mysterious suited man is quietly approaching from the shadows. The time portal begins to close on its own. Our boy struggles to hold it open and yells for her to hurry, but instead of leaving, Nara desperately screams out the Dakibi's name. "I'll set you free someday." Remembering the girl's promise, the trapped blue monster waited endlessly, but his hope slowly turned into despair. The girl vanished after leaving some cryptic words. Just then, a mysterious man in a black trench coat pushed the door open, and little Ganho happily called him doctor. Facing this intimidating man, the monster, whose body was tightly sealed in the dead tree, desperately reached out to beg for his freedom. During those dark days of captivity, the monster's only comfort was quietly watching the warm, everyday moments of Ganho's family through the window. His father brought spring flowers, while little Ganho captured the moments with his camera. His sick mother gently hugged him, grateful for his love. His mother dreamed that Ganho would grow up to explore the world with his camera. Hearing her heartfelt wish, the boy promised to become a great photographer. After losing both his parents, young Ganho was left completely alone. To make matters worse, the helpless boy became the prey of a vicious, viper-like guardian. Seeing Ganho in despair, the family's guardian deity stepped up. To protect the last descendant, the blue monster tightly held the crying boy from behind, deciding to give him all its power. "I don't care if I become an empty shell, as long as I can save you." As the power surged, the monster desperately yelled at the boy to run far away from the house, and never look back. With a burst of power, Ganho vanished into thin air like mist, leaving only broken camera pieces behind. Seeing the boy successfully escape the black-haired man's clutches, the exhausted monster felt a wave of relief. From then on, a dead silence engulfed the old house. All the laughter vanished, and the empty mansion became a grave burying their happy memories as time mercilessly flowed on. Drained of its power, the monster shrank into a tiny, weak creature, hiding alone in a hollow tree. The endless isolation filled it with deep guilt, making it feel utterly useless. The endless years of isolation finally broke its spirit entirely. The little monster screamed hysterically for the release of death. But in this dead silence, would anyone actually answer its plea? During the previous devastating blast, the giant blue guardian deity exhausted all its power to protect everyone, ultimately shrinking into a faint, fragile spirit. Pushing the door open, our boy and Nara finally step out. Looking at the scattered debris, they realize the old mansion has been completely leveled. The devastation is absolute. Even the once vibrant sacred tree is now nothing more than a smoking, charred stump, leaving them in complete shock. Just as despair sets in, our boy points at the rocks below. Miraculously, a small blue flame flickers in the ruins. It's the surviving Dakibi. Relieved, Nara eagerly calls out to the guardian deity. However, the little guy seems to have lost all consciousness, just sitting there blankly without any reaction. Watching the fading spirit, our boy sighs helplessly. He admits the little guy will vanish soon, and unless the burned tree miraculously revives, there's no way to save it. After the fire, the police secure the ruins. Facing their questions, our boy and Neri play dumb, while she carefully shields the weakened blue spirit. Instead of sympathy, bystanders gossip, glad the old house, lowering their property value, is finally gone. Their coldness leaves Neri chilled. A news broadcast catches their attention. The homeowner was actually Ganho, the boy from the past. Knowing he lived a full life, they immediately visit his memorial exhibition. Inside the exhibition, the blue spirit resonates with the photos. Seeing the boy it protected live a fulfilling life, the guardian deity finally finds peace in the warm light. These old photos tell Ganho's story. He chose to trust Neri's words back then, keeping her torn photo as a talisman and believing that captured moments never wither. Carrying his mother's hopes, Ganho bravely stepped out of his confined world. He spent his life embracing the vast world, recording hard-working farmers and their genuine smiles. His lens captured no monsters, only the purest warmth and love of humanity. This bond across decades finally comes to an incredibly beautiful and tender end. Fast forward, our duo finds themselves in an art gallery. Staring at the old black and white family portrait on the wall, they are filled with deep emotion. The photo captures the very boy who loved photography. Holding the blue spirit, Neri is so proud that the kid survived and became a great artist. Hearing a descendant proudly call the boy in the photo grandfather, Neri is stunned. The kid they once protected actually grew up to have a big family. Knowing the boy lived a full life, the little Dakibi finally lets go of its regrets. With a peaceful smile, the blue spirit slowly dissolves into starlight in Neri's hands. In a bright burst of light, the guardian spirit returns to the family by the dead tree. Witnessing this beautiful reunion, our boy and Neri can't help but shed tears of joy. All the pain and sacrifices are finally over. The selfless guardian will forever live on in this pure, unwithered memory alongside the boy he protected. But the heartwarming moment doesn't last long. Gyunwa's phone suddenly rings, and a frantic voice on the other end screams his name. A new crisis is already here. The translucent spirits slowly fade into the light. It turns out that miracles aren't divine gifts, but the result of unyielding human will. Meanwhile, on a speeding train, the companions are reflecting on the crisis. Glass's guy deeply regrets trusting Pumbeek just to take an easy shortcut. The silver-haired guy sighs, knowing Hando will be extremely disappointed. But instead of complaining, they decide to focus on what they must do helping humans. Though she stubbornly claims free volunteering isn't her style, she immediately pulls out her phone and recreates their secret support group chat. After all, they've already secured the clues for 2 Dandan relics. With this confidence, they vow to become human in their own righteous way. The scene shifts to a villainous secret gathering. A man complains that his newly possessed body feels like trash, only to be ruthlessly mocked by the guy in red. Mocked and angered, the man smirks. A strange blue energy bursts from his hands as he directly unleashes his fox transformation ability in front of everyone. As the light fades, a domineering man in a sharp suit stands in the center. He coldly glares at the room, and his intimidating question signals a bigger crisis brewing. Meanwhile, the villain leader gives his underlings a chilling order: plunge the world into chaos, but leave Nara alone. He wants her soul all to himself. The story flashes back to our boy's childhood. His father looks at a sacred relic left by his mother, wondering if he should sell it before it attracts evil monsters. But when he turns around, our little guy is already trying to eat the dangerous energy. The panicked dad immediately begs him to spit it out. Living isolated deep in the mountains, the father and son share a quiet life. One day, while our boy is spacing out on a tree, he hears his father calling from the woods. Seeing his dad finally return, the excited little guy hangs upside down before leaping straight from the high branches, landing safely in his father's arms. The next second, he playfully tackles his dad with a spark of lightning, pouting about him being late. Smiling gently, the father simply carries our boy home on his shoulders, sharing a warm and peaceful moment. Memories pull us back to when our boy was just a kid in the mountains. His dad, a beast descendant, struggled with wild instincts but tried his best to live like a human. Inside their cozy cabin, the two enjoy some fried chicken. Seeing our boy eat so happily, his dad apologizes for leaving him isolated, but the sensible kid just asks for pizza next time. Taking a sip of his drink, our boy suddenly asks if his dad still misses mom. The tough father freezes, caught completely off guard, since he even talks about her in his sleep. Lying side by side, our boy asks why he chose mom. The father smiles gently, admitting he became a complete fool the moment he saw her beauty. To his dad, his mom was a replaceable destiny. Holding his son's hand, he promises that one day, when he meets someone special, he'll finally understand how that feels. The truth is, our boy just loves seeing his dad so happy when talking about mom. But the warm moment fades as his father gears up for another dangerous hunt. Watching his dad get ready, the little boy asks the big question: why hunt those dangerous evil spirits? Is it really just to become a true human? His dad stops and delivers a life-changing answer. He hunts because it's the right thing to do. Loving and helping others is what truly makes someone human, a belief that drives our boy today. As a child, our boy lived in the mountains with his dad, learning to act like a human. One day, his dad left on a trip, leaving the innocent boy eagerly waiting for his promised pizza. He played happily in the forest and watched the beautiful sunrise, keeping his father's teaching close to his heart. To love and help others is to be truly human. However, his father never showed up after the promised 3 days. Our little guy waited alone in the empty house, shedding tears of anxiety and fear. On the 5th night, a stranger finally appeared, an old woman. Our boy's beastly instincts immediately kicked in, sensing extreme danger from her presence. While our boy bared his teeth, the old woman calmly claimed to be his father's old comrade. But when she handed over a small urn, he was completely paralyzed by the cruel reality. Clutching the small urn tightly, his heart shattered into pieces. He desperately realized that even if he waited for 100 more nights, his gentle father would never return. Seeing the devastated child, the old woman offered to take him in. When our wary boy questioned her motive, she countered with his father's philosophy. Does helping others really need a reason? In the end, our little guy took her hand and left the mountain behind. As they walked down the path, a brand new bond that would change his destiny slowly began to unfold. Yanwu, a name meant to help and guide others. His father's words echoed in his mind, but before our boy could dwell on them, a familiar voice snapped him back to reality. Seeing her days off, he casually brushed it off as reminiscing. Then, he firmly grabbed her backpack strap, making sure the clumsy girl wouldn't wander into danger. Walking down the street, she pointed out that he had been surprisingly gentle lately. Caught off guard by the compliment, he awkwardly made up an excuse about just wanting to copy her homework. Despite his calm exterior, his mind was in turmoil. After all, he already knew she was the granddaughter of the very hunter who held a blood feud with his family. Just then, his father's old lessons about destiny flooded back. What kind of person could truly be that fated one, an unchangeable presence even if the stars fell? Standing side by side at the crosswalk, the close distance made our boy suddenly realize something. A look of sheer disbelief flashed across his eyes. Could it be that she is? To complete their boss's mission, a few goons put on clumsy school uniform disguises and sneak in, planning to split up and steal Nara's fingernail. Meanwhile, on the school rooftop, a couple secretly makes out during the break, but they can't shake the chilling feeling of being watched by countless eyes. Their instincts are spot on, as a whole crowd of ghosts is surrounding them. Watching the PDA, one single female ghost gets totally triggered, her face twisting in pure jealousy. An older ghost tries to make a snarky comment, but accidentally hits the female ghost's sore spot about dying single, forcing him to instantly cover his mouth in panic. This overwhelming resentment is shared by the stitch-mouthed evil spirit who just possessed Nara's body. Walking around in Nara's pretty skin, her mind is consumed by envy. But just as she's drowning in bitterness, she looks up and runs straight into our boy standing in the light. Faced with his handsome looks, this single spirit might just get some dangerous new ideas. Hiding in the shadows, the ghost stares at our boy Yanwu, seeing him as her only light in this miserable world. But seeing Nara by his side instantly sours her mood. Watching the two inseparable in the hallway, the ghost's jealousy grows like weeds. Terrified of losing her last emotional anchor, her face is twisted with resentment. Just as the ghost sits alone on the stairs, wallowing in self-pity, kind-hearted Nara approaches her, full of concern, asking if something is wrong. Faced with Nara's genuine care and the fact that she saved her before, the ghost is torn. Looking at this beautiful and gentle girl, she can't help but feel how unfair the world is. The stark contrast makes the ghost feel deeply inferior. Sitting side by side on the steps, she finally lets her guard down and tells Nara about her tragic past life. A ruthless car accident took her parents. To raise her 4 younger siblings, she was forced to drop out of school, working day and night in a factory and a restaurant. During those dark days, the kind restaurant boss became her only comfort. He thoughtfully let her go home early and gave her extra bonuses, letting the poor girl feel warmth for the first time. Mia once met a kind boss before her death. Just when she thought she could finally be happy, severe overwork cruelly took her life. Unable to let go of her younger siblings, Mia lingered as a ghost and followed them to school. Hearing her story, kind-hearted Nara burst into tears. Mia also had a selfish reason to stay, to secretly watch over our boy Yanwu, her only light. Knowing they can't be together, she decides to say goodbye. Seeing her lonely figure, Nara desperately tries to make her stay. Suddenly, a cold hand reaches out from behind and violently grabs her backpack. A creepy shadowy figure with glowing pink eyes mercilessly pushes Nara down the high stairs, leaving her plunging into terrifying freefall. Seeing Nara about to hit the ground, Mia doesn't hesitate for a second. To save the kind-hearted girl, she dives straight toward her. But something impossible happens. Instead of passing through, Mia feels solid warmth. Staring at her now physical hands, she is completely stunned. By a strange twist of fate, Mia's soul has successfully possessed Nara's body. Looking at the mess, she has no idea how serious things are about to get. Taking in her surroundings, the mysterious ghost finally gets her wish. She is absolutely stunned to realize she has successfully possessed Nara's body, kicking off her deceptive masquerade. Still unused to her new body, the ghost clumsily trips over nothing. Seeing her fall, our boy Gyunwoo immediately steps up, unsuspectingly offering his warm hand to help. As their hands clasp tightly, the long-lost human warmth makes the ghost blush. Before she can even savor the moment, she stumbles again, falling perfectly into Gyunwoo's solid embrace. Resting against his broad chest, a flash of panic hits the ghost. What if the sharp-eyed Gyunwoo realizes she's an imposter? Fortunately, he just looks down at her, eyes full of genuine concern. Seeing Gyunwoo gently support her, the ghost secretly rejoices. Using her fake injury as an excuse to openly touch this handsome guy is a dream she never dared to imagine. Deep within her consciousness, the ghost finally reveals her true colors. Looking at Nara's suppressed, slumbering soul, she smugly gives thanks, hoping the real owner never wakes up again. Basking in this heaven-sent moment, the deceitful ghost completely lets loose. Knowing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity won't come again, she decides to fully enjoy the pleasures of being human. Late at night, the possessed Nara quietly climbs onto the bed, while Gyunwoo is fast asleep. Staring down at his handsome face, a dangerous, greedy glint flashes in the ghost's eyes. What exactly is her next move? Startled by the sudden commotion, Neri instinctively throws herself into our boy's arms. Feeling his heartbeat with their faces so close, she instantly blushes, making the moment undeniably romantic.